Buyer beware. A chilling tale of deception and deceit, sponsored by the Better Business Bureau and WVEC-TV.
Being in high school can be a pretty scary thing. Not only do you have graduation, college, and career goals to think about, you've got the whole future to plan for. In planning that future, you'll be making a lot of purchases and investments, both large and small. Being a consumer can be a pretty scary thing. You'll sometimes find that the friendly salesman can be attempting to drain you of your last dime. Hi, I'm Joe Flanagan. The Better Business Bureau wants to make your experiences as a consumer less frightening. First, you should know that businesses in southeastern Virginia operate legitimately and honestly. However, some do not. Buying that first car, renting that first apartment, and investing in those first appliances can turn into a real horror story if you're not armed with the facts. The following information can help to keep your future as a consumer from turning into a nightmare. The important thing to remember is that the responsibility rests on you, not the government or anyone else, to see that you get the best deal. There are 3 basic rules that can help you to become a better buyer. Rule number 1, do your homework. Yes, there is homework after high school. Only the homework you do as a consumer can save you time, money, and headaches. It's very important to know as much as you can before plunking down your money. First, know your product. Perhaps you're interested in buying your own car. You'll want to consider all the options available. Most consumers in Hampton Roads would list air conditioning as a must. Did you know that air conditioning not only adds to the cost of the car, it also adds 100 pounds to the weight of the car, which imposes a fuel penalty whether or not the unit is operating? This will naturally cost you a little more each time you fill up at the gas station. You'll want to consider these types of things before buying. To learn more about the product or service you're considering, talk to friends and neighbors who have purchased the product or service. Go to the library. Look at consumer reports and trade magazines concerning the product or service. Contact agencies like the Better Business Bureau, which provides free information on investing in hundreds of products and services. After you've learned all about the product, you'll want to find out who can offer you the best deal. That brings us to the next step of consumer homework, comparison shopping. It literally pays to shop around. You can sometimes find the best deal in the most unexpected places. However, you may have to forego certain services in favor of a lower price for a product. For example, discount furniture stores may offer substantial savings over traditional furniture stores. However, traditional furniture store services, such as delivery, uncrating, and setup, are available at additional costs. You may only save money if you can do all that yourself. You may find great prices on the product you're buying in classified ads, at flea markets, second-hand stores, or garage sales. However, it's important to note that you may have to give up valuable warranty privileges to take advantage of the low price. In other words, you'll be responsible for the costs of all repairs. If you have a problem with your product, you will not be able to turn to agencies such as the Better Business Bureau, since you've dealt with an individual and not a business. Always find out what services and privileges you'll have to give up to take advantage of a low price. You may not need those services, or the absence of them may cost you a great deal in the long run. Always consider maintenance costs before purchasing. Another important factor to consider when comparison shopping is interest rates. Those who grant credit, department stores, credit card companies, finance companies, and banks are all in business to make a profit. When you borrow money to delay a payment for a purchase, such as a car, a rental fee is charged. Interest is the rent you pay for the use of money that belongs to another person or lending institution. It therefore costs more to buy a product on credit. Unfortunately, most of us have to pay for large purchases that way. What's important is to see who can offer you the best financing, figuring what the total cost of your product will be after all the interest is paid. A rule of thumb is that the higher the interest rate and the longer it takes to pay off the balance, the higher the actual price your product is. There are many factors to consider when comparison shopping. Again, talk to friends and relatives when looking for the best price. Just because a store bills itself as a warehouse or a discount store doesn't mean that it offers the best prices. By the same token, just because someone advertises a sale, that doesn't mean that they're offering the best price either. It pays to shop around. Once you've learned about the product and you've done your comparison shopping, you'll need to do a little more homework before you buy. Know the company. It also pays to know who you're dealing with before turning over your hard-earned cash. Your Better Business Bureau can provide you with free reports on thousands of local and national companies before you invest. These reports reveal how long a firm has been in business and whether or not it has a satisfactory customer relations record. If a company does not resolve customer complaints, the Bureau will let you know that in its file report. Ask friends and neighbors who have dealt with the company you're considering what their experiences have been. Get to know the company. If you're considering a health club, for example, visit it during the time you normally use the club to see what it's like. If you're interested only in aerobics, ask if the club has proper instructors and if there's a discount for an aerobics-only program. Ask if there's a limit to members to avoid overcrowding. If you're considering long-term membership in a video or buying club, you'll also want to consider the financial stability of the club and its previous track record. What happens if you pay a substantial fee for a 3-year membership and the club goes out of business in 5 months? Will you be reimbursed for the membership time you'll miss out on? Remember that lifetime memberships refer to the lifetime of the company, not your lifetime. Find out what protection you'll have. Before signing any contract, make sure you read and understand everything. Don't be afraid to ask questions. After all, it's your money. Once a contract is signed, it becomes very difficult to break. Don't ever take a salesman's word. Get all conditions in writing. If an appliance salesman says delivery and installation of your new stereo is part of the deal, make sure the statement is covered in the contract. Otherwise, the seller is under no obligation to provide it, and you may have to pay extra for it. Never sign a contract which contains blank space. The seller can then add terms and conditions you never would have agreed to had you read them first. When you do all your homework, chances are you won't have any problems. If you do experience problems with a company, be an effective complainer. In a calm manner, contact the manager or owner of the business you're having troubles with and explain your problem. State the type of action you'd like to have taken and a reasonable time to do it in. If the manager or owner doesn't comply with your request, contact the Better Business Bureau. The majority of businesses want to hear and resolve your complaints. They want to keep you coming back as a customer. And as a customer, you have every right to get what you've paid for. That brings us to rule number 2, scrutinize advertising. The fact is, you usually do get what you pay for. Genuine diamond rings for $10 during special marketing tests. Ever see that one? If you respond to this promotion, chances are that you will receive a diamond. The lowest grade industrial diamond chip with little, if any, value. The ad states the truth. The product is delivered and you do receive a diamond, but the promotion is deceiving. It's important to ask yourself a lot of questions when looking at advertising and to read between the lines. Consider claims such as never undersold. Can a merchant ever really know that no one is selling his product any lower than he is? What does the largest dealer mean? Does he sell the most, have the biggest inventory, the largest building, or is the dealer himself the largest? What does any of this matter in getting the best deal? What does the claim more low prices mean? More low prices than who? What is considered low? The term wholesale is also misleading because it implies that the merchant is selling merchandise by way of avoiding the routine channel from the merchant to you, the retail buyer. Merchandise is sold to consumers at retail, not wholesale. Otherwise, the merchant would not make a profit and could not stay in business. Be cautious of vaguely worded testimonials. If Susie of Los Angeles thought that the diet formula she used was so effective, why won't she share her last name with us? Did it take her weeks or years to lose those 20 pounds? And did she eat while on the formula? Look out for terms such as amazing breakthrough, miracle cure, and secret or exclusive formula. These are not scientific terms, only subjective claims. Looking at deceptive promotions brings us to our final rule to becoming a better buyer. Learn to recognize schemes.
Congratulations, you have won one of the following: a color TV, $5,000, a Florida vacation, a personal computer, a Lazy Boy recliner. Call us within 24 hours to find out which of these valuable prizes is yours in our marketing promotion.
When you call, you're notified of your prize and are told that all you have to do to receive it is send $63 to cover postage and handling, insurance fees, and what is called a gift tax. Naturally, you send the money knowing that soon you'll receive the fabulous Florida vacation, which turns out to be a certificate for 2 nights in an inexpensive Florida hotel. You pay for meals, transportation, gratuities, taxes, and all other expenses. Or you may be awaiting arrival of your personal computer, an inexpensive handheld calculator. Then again, you may have won the recliner, an inexpensive cardboard contraption that you prop up on the floor. Why not the TV or $5,000 in cash? Well, only a couple in thousands, maybe millions, if any at all, win those prizes. Often, after paying your $63, nothing ever arrives. Every day, hundreds of consumers in Hampton Roads find that they are lucky winners of one promotion or another. Always be suspicious of someone who asks you to pay for a gift or prize. It's probably only a ploy to get your money. When it comes to spending your money, it's your responsibility to see that you get the best buy. Remember to investigate before you invest. Call the Better Business Bureau to check the reliability report on a firm before you deal with it. After all, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of salesmen?